What up, everybody? We're back. We're going to do a stage breakdown. This is stage 8 from Long Island Championship. Probably one of my favorite stages, if not the coolest stage I've ever shot. So you'll see here, you have this guillotine, which is pretty cool. But let's watch it, and then we'll break it down as usual.
Are you ready?
Shoot ready?
Stand by. If clear.
So I just seen stage 8. Rather unusual stage. This is not very common to have a one-handed guillotine contraption. It usually reserves this stuff for level 2 matches and special event matches. So right off the bat, it was sitting. Yeah, it was sitting. And I did notice, I did make some errors here, but rather the stage was pretty smooth. I'm just reviewing the stage because I don't think I have, and it's something very different. As you could see, that the inside of this sector is pretty much shot from here, all one-handed, so 2 paper, 3 steel. But
Are you ready?
my error comes here. So I moved too far to the left when engaging these papers. So as you see, I have a target here and a target there. I should have moved even further left than what I already done. And in my head, there, in my stage plan, I did. In my stage plan, I moved far left to where I could visually see this. Now, if I remember correctly, I skimmed the bullet off the barrel, which is a counts as a miss. So didn't do hot there. And as you can see, I don't really have a good vantage point, but the whole purpose of why I went to the right is so I'm closer to the side. Now, after shooting it, I'm like, I messed up. So then I come over here, and as you can see, I position myself better on this side than I did on the left side. So it's more of positioning. What I think I'm going to do is, I think we're going to we're going to make a separate video for stage planning, and we're going to talk about how to stage plan and whatever goes into stage planning. I think it's just going to be a completely separate video. We're going to do it in person at LIPSA. And instead of just using stages to show you guys it, we're going to talk about it and can make a whole video about it so you guys can really understand what goes into a stage plan and why stage planning goes to So as you see, come here, and then it's straight down. So here, there was some strategy involved. People were doing it slightly different. People are just laying down knees or sitting. Actually, I had one guy sit and do it, but I went for the one hand gun through, and as you can see, you can't see this because my GoPro's on my head. So we do it, and shooting one-handed is not something you do all the time, but if you plan on competing, you plan on getting to USPSA, definitely practice your one-handed shooting from time to time, as it's not super common, but it's common enough to where you want to have confidence in doing it, because some classifiers are actually shot one-handed and you don't really want to mess up your classifier. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of these. I just figured I'd show you guys a really cool stage and something very different that we don't normally see. And we're going to go on to the next video. Just give me a second and we'll get in. All right, we're back. This is stage 3 from the August LIPSA match. I'm not sure if I reviewed this one, but I definitely messed pretty badly. I overshot my first sector. I'm actually running out of stages to give you guys. We're going through so many stages a week where I'm kind of running out. I have to use other people's footage, excuse me, and give you their point of view because I'm running out of my own personal footage. You guys are going to have to wait until probably March, the 3rd week of March, to see me again on the stage, as March Madness is next month, and I'll be getting all 14 stages from there. But let's watch this stage, and you can watch all my fuck ups. Watch me severely screw this stage up. Just note, I think I'm in limited optics. Yeah, I'm in limited optics here. So let's watch it, and then we'll break it down.
Are you ready?
Shooter ready?
If you finish, unload.
So that was stage 3, and it could have been so much better, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes your stage planning goes to shit, and that's your mental game, and that's it. You really can't fix that after that. It's not like you can make that up. It's time, and you really can't make up time. So right off the bat,
Shooter ready?
it's 2 alpha, 2 alpha, and then I get going, and I'm like, shit, I overshot my sector, came back with the fresh reload, which I didn't have to do, actually. I reloaded. I don't know why I reloaded, but I did reload, and now it's going to mess up my whole sector of fire, because what I did plan, I planned on shooting the first 2 targets on the left, so those 2 on the left side of the frame, and then the 3 right here with 1 mag. That'd be 10 shots with 11 shots in gun. So 1 chamber, 10 mag. But I overshot and I reloaded. So now I'm going to have to perform a reload here. And I didn't want to do that. So here I am, reload. And now I'm going in here. And here's my reload. I didn't want to do this because the point of having these 2 targets here was to have a fresh magazine loaded for these 2 targets and then take this through an extremely tight gap. So you could kind of like pedal your way to this sector and then take them on the move, which I couldn't do because I just reloaded, and it just ruined my, it just ruined it. It just ruined my stage, and it's little errors like that that just ruin. It's not even shooting related either. It's stage planning related and memory related. So I come in, now I'm slow as shit, gotta reload, and I can't do it on the move. So I was like, let me take it stationary, then reload it again, take the paper over here, and 3 steel, and another paper there. And you can watch the 3rd shot actually pass through the barrier, which didn't count because there was already. So that's stage 3. It could have been done so much better, but it is what it is. And, you know, sometimes I go back and watch footage and I'm like, what am I doing? And you just critique yourself and you're like, could have did this, could have did that. But while you're shooting on the stage, it's really, you know, in that moment, in that time, and you just got to get better. You need to get better. You need to shoot matches to get better. It's not something you could just do on your own time in the indoor range or in your house. Or dry firing. Stage planning is very, very difficult. Actually, you know what? Stage planning is very easy. Sticking to your stage plan is very difficult. Gets very hard, especially on larger stages. This is actually a very small stage, and I still mess it up. What was it? 30, 28 shot stage. But as you can see, it doesn't really matter. Even small stages, you can get messed up in your stage plan, and everybody might say, "Oh, how do you mess that up?" Well, when you're in shooting it in that time and in that mental space, and you see targets over here, and you forget to do this, well, now your stage goes to shit, and it's very easy to forget how to do this because I see it all the time. Very early on in my shooting, I would do this all the time, and now this is very, very rarely do I do this. I don't really do it much anymore, but you know, as you shoot more stages, you do get better. And over time, you start to remember the things that you got to do. Sometimes I like to rush on stages, and I shouldn't do, as I understand that these are very time oriented and time based stages. So I'm trying to like push as fast as I can. And yes, there is, I understand that there is a time, or you're going way too fast, but the way I look at it and the way I understand the game is, you know, you could take 30 seconds and shoot all alphas, or you could go until your failure point, which you go to your failure point and when you're training and you start to understand what you're doing, because shooting 28 alphas in 30 seconds is easy. Everybody could do, well, I don't know about everybody, but I'm using that as an example for myself. I could do that. That's very easy to. So when you're trying to shoot stages, you want to move at a pace that you're comfortable at a pace that you know you could shoot, because shooting delta is probably not the best. Like if you shoot a delta, there was a fundamental breakdown in your shooting or movement or something you did was really bad. Charlie's a little less, but you really want alphas, and I wouldn't recommend, you know, I use 30 seconds time. Let's say I did this in 15 seconds, but half of the shots were Charlie. Like, all right, could have slowed down a little more and shot alphas, but it's much better than, taking 30 seconds to shoot alphas. As a matter of fact, if you want to do the hit factor, pretty sure shooting half at Charlie's, half at alphas, and half the amount of time yields a way, way higher hit factor. That's just something to consider when you're shooting. You don't necessarily want to go for every target alphas, and I understand that is the goal, but are you capable of doing that at speed? Probably not. Most people are not. Even professional shooters, GMs, shoot Charlie. So you just guys have to be willing to go at a pace that that I wouldn't say comfortable at, but a pace that you know that you could yield a high hit factor. And on these stages with these high hit factors, a half a hit factor, half of a point is pretty decent. That's a lot of that's significant. When you start pushing and pushing and pushing, like, I don't know, let's say this was a 5 hit factor stage. 2.5 hit factor is absolute garbage. You don't want a 2.5 hit factor. If this is a 5 hit factor stage, you want to stay in between 4 and 5, with the lowest you'd probably be acceptable was 3 points. So you don't want to shoot just 50% of the stage. You want, a good rule of is about 85%, with shooting 90% of the available. And you guys are like, oh, what is this percentage? You want to shoot this, you stay at an acceptable level. So like, let's say a GM shot this and he holds the 100%. He has 100%. And you're an A-class shooter. You want to be within 85% of that. And you want to shoot 90% of the available points. You don't want to throw away your points. You want to earn as many points as possible. So when I say 85%, yeah, your hit factor is within 85% or 15% of the GM's 100%, or whoever has the highest percentage for that stage. Most of the time it's a GM or a man. So you want to be up there and you want to hold that percentage. Now the point wise, so let's say there's 150 points available. You want to be within 10% of that. So you want to be within 100. You want the lowest acceptable point shot for that standard, for me at least, is 10%. I want to be within 135 points. If I don't score 135 points, it's a failure to me. Like, I didn't do good. Now you could shoot 89%, 88% and be okay. But the goal is 90. And I know some people use a lesser threshold. They use 80. They use a 15% threshold, but I tend not to like to do that, because you kind of get lackadaisical with your shooting ability. And I don't really like that. I like to hold myself to an extremely high standard for shooting so I don't get lazy. I prefer to shoot within the 10% range. So 90% for me, sucks. You'll go back and look at the stage and you're like, oh, I could have shot here, could have shot there. But, while you're on the stage, it's very hard to see what you're doing, especially at the longer ranges. Now, granted, at these closer ranges, at these 3, 4, 5 yard shots, yeah, you could see if you miss or you hit it, and you want to be able to make up the shot in a reasonable amount of time. Don't take 5 seconds to make up a shot. It's not worth it. That extra alpha is not worth the extra time. Unless I would make that up if I missed. But if you shoot a delta, don't go back and waste 5 seconds to shoot the alpha. Just take the delta. And this is a lot of the stuff I want to cover in our stage planning and what it's like to shoot a stage, and just the understanding of USPSA, because I know a lot. This sport is getting pretty popular, and I understand that a lot of people want to get into it, but a lot of people are shy of getting involved in it, or just don't really understand how it works, or even how to get involved into it. A lot of you guys think you need to be like expert shooters to do this. You don't, but you definitely need to have an understanding of shooting and moving your gun around, because people get DQ'd all the time for busting the 180, and If you don't feel comfortable shooting and moving with your gun and not understanding the rules of USPSA, you probably shouldn't do it. If you don't feel comfortable shooting and moving, do not do USPSA. You could shoot somebody, you could shoot yourself, you could DQ because you go by the 180, and that's a massive no-no. You could even have an ND. So if you don't feel comfortable shooting and moving at a reasonable pace, don't do USPSA. You want to come in the USPSA and you want to dilly-dally around and walk around, fine. That's okay, but don't expect to be anything good. Just get the experience out of it and do what you need to do. But if you really want to come in and compete, you have to really understand the rules. You have to understand your shooting ability. You have to hold yourself accountable, what your shooting ability actually is. Because you come in here with an ego, you will go home very disappointed because you're probably not the best shooter. I've never seen somebody's first match come in and do very well. Most of the time, first timers shoot in between probably 50, 60, and then you just get better after that. But that's all I got for you today. Short day. I don't have Joe today. I'm getting my surgery, so I'm going to try to do this next week. Next Saturday might be a little late. I'm not too sure, but we're actually running out of footage. I might give you guys Giancarlo, Mark's footage next week, but here. So you guys have a good night.